Hi, it's Danduw 3D back again with another video. This time it's going to be very different to what you've seen before. This is going to be more of a thought piece rather than a time lapse or a tutorial. It's kind of a tutorial, but in a different way. You might notice as well, I have shaved my beard. So I look like a 10-year-old now, which is not fun for buying monsters at Tesco's, which is a shame. So now I have to bring my ID out when I go to buy monsters. Yeah, so, you know, I hope you guys will enjoy this video. I've put the camera on to make it a bit more interesting and entertaining, because I feel like as well, when you're doing a presentation, it's always nice to have the guy actually, hello my cat, actually in front of you, giving you hand signals. Just makes it more fun. So hi, oh, one more thing as well. You might be wondering what is going on here. What is this? I couldn't be bothered to edit together a really well edited video for what I wanted to explain. So rather than doing that, I actually put together a PowerPoint, and I'm just going to talk over it. You know, a bit more lazier than other ways of doing it, but it'll be entertaining. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So yes, hi, I'm Danduw 3D, and you are a bad character artist. You're not a bad character artist, you're unsuccessful. You suck. And I'm not, you might be wondering who I'm talking to right now. I'm kind of talking to my like 2 or 3 year old self. That'd be weird. My younger self from 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, when I was just starting off, when I was still looking for a job, and I felt quite unsuccessful as a character artist. Believe it or not, but I was pretty shit when I started off. But yeah, we'll go into that more as we go along in this presentation. So you might be thinking to yourself, what the fuck do you mean by that, Daniel? You do not know my skill level, so fuck off, which is a good point. You're not that good yourself, you twat. You make a YouTube channel now, you think you're hot shit and could tell people what's wrong or right, which is also a very good point, because, you know, I do have a YouTube channel now, so I can speak at you, not with you. Being self-aware doesn't change that. That is a good point, and it makes it even weirder knowing that I wrote this down in the presentation. How can I be a successful character artist? So I think, you know, being a successful character artist, there's a lot to it. So that's a good question. That is a good question. So I did things wrong when I started off, and I think with the advice I'm going to give you, I'm not just going to give you the right things to do, because there's so many different avenues of what's right, what to get right as a character artist, or how to get better as a character artist. And it's very relative. So I think rather than going in that angle, I'm going to talk about what I did wrong and my perspective on that, which I think will just be more interesting. Also, I've noticed, so I've had to have my microphone so close to my mouth, right? I can't be over here because then it just doesn't pick up as well. So you're going to hear a lot of breathy words. So sorry. I'm out of breath. I'm very unfit, man. I need to go to the gym. I'm going to be starting to go to the gym soon. Maybe I'll do some streams at the gym. We're all still learning, so it'll be fun to give advice when I'm able to. You know, I know that in like 5 or 10 years, or even less, I'll look back at this and be like, you're completely fucking wrong about what you're talking about. But, you know, there's tutorials online that I look at that have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And they still, you know, do well and still help people and still inspire them, even if they're wrong. So hopefully, even if this is wrong, or maybe outdated in a few years, maybe it'll inspire someone, because it worked for me, this advice that I have. This presentation is directed towards beginner character artists, so, you know, if you're 2-3 years into your job, this might be less relevant, or, you know, if you're just starting off and you're really successful, there are some like prodigy character artists out there. Fuck off. So, you know, this is for you 3D character artists who are new and looking for advice. And if you're really good, just fuck off and get off your high horse. I don't want to see any comments of people being like, oh, this is how I should have done it. But thanks for the advice. You make a tutorial. Fuck you. That's mean. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. That's quite rude, actually. I actually apologize. So yeah, this is me when I was 18. What's hilarious is that like when I was putting this together, I had a beard. So this was a lot more striking of a comparison. I just kind of look like that still, which is a shame. Maybe just a bit more fatter, which is a shame. Again, I will be going to the gym soon. But this is when I was 18. I just wanted to be a gamer. I just wanted to be a game industry boy. So, you know, I started at a university for games. I actually started off on a 2D course. And then I went to one class for 3D. And I realized very quickly that I really liked 3D. I didn't know where I wanted to be with it, but I knew in general I like characters. I didn't really care for environments because I found them too hard. Characters, even though I feel like every part of 3D is hard, I feel like, oh, it'd be so cool to make cool characters, you know, like Last of Us. So yeah, that was my main angle. I barely even knew what a normal map was at this point in my first year. I think even like after our first few briefs where we literally were using normal maps, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and I was a bit of an idiot. And I didn't really listen to many people, and I was a bit naive. Also, I ate so much fucking pizza in uni, like, oh my god. So there was a uni area for the plaza of food stores, and Domino's was there. This actually might play into why I'm breathing so heavily and so unfit. It's because they just had Domino's and like Pizza Hut and so much other fucking crap food around the corner, and you could just order from them. And like where I lived in my flat block, student dorms, you could just like go outside, just wait 3 minutes while you order on like fucking Uber Eats, and you just get like whatever you want. It was great. But yeah, it was kind of fucked. So yeah, this, when I started off, there's a little picture of me. I actually look younger in that picture there. I mean, older, sorry. Because I've got a bit of beard in there. You could see I was trying to attempt a beard there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like a neck beard. Ugh. So yeah, no, when I started off, I remember using mostly Maya and ZBrush. Obviously stuff like Substance Painter and other software like that. But at this point, you know, I was still testing out shit, and I was getting the hang of ZBrush. And I think at a very early point, I realized how much I liked ZBrush. And also our course taught us Maya. And I know a lot of people here that are watching this probably use Blender, because I know that's like the main cool kid on the block that uses Blender because it's so cool and free. But we were taught Maya. So that's just what I use now. But either way, I'm sure all the stuff is transferable, even if you don't use Maya. So you can see my work here is pretty shit. This one here was like my first ZBrush sculpt, and I think I dynameshed it and then used auto UV and then just shoved it in Substance Painter and used like a bunch of like shitty bone smart materials and just shoved them on. I remember I showed my mum. I was like, Mum, I'm a fucking character artist. This is amazing. She's like, okay. You can see I did some low poly stuff at this point as well. I really like frogs. You'll see a lot of reptiles and frogs in my work. Also, this one down here is like my first ever brief at uni to do like a table. I did finish it, but I remember being at this stage for ages because I just didn't know how to texture correctly. I realized I wanted to be a character artist around second year of uni. So yeah, no, after my first year, I kind of thought, oh, maybe I could be a concept artist, or I could do something in games. And I remember my teacher at the time, such a great guy, Frank Victoria, he's a concept artist. He pretty much said like, do you know what you want to do with your life? And after a few back and forths, we kind of worked out that character artist was the way to go. But yeah, no. So at this point, I was messing around with a few character designs, but I knew I was kind of shit, and it really pissed me off because I think the worst feeling as an artist, especially when you're learning, is just not feeling good enough. And you see all these amazing people around you, especially at uni. Like we had some insane artists, and I'm a naive dick. So when I saw that, it really pissed me off. So, oh, there's a nice picture of me there. Ooh, cheeky. I started watching so much bullshit online that was super helpful to my learning. So yeah, at this point, you know, I realized I wanted to be a character artist. And I was looking at those generic, you know, you just type into YouTube right now, how to be a character artist in games industry, and you'd see all these things about learn anatomy, learn faces, learn all these different parts of what makes a character. And, you know, I followed suit. So, you know, I made these face sculpts. Look how bad these look. Look at this one. I remember doing this, and I remember showing it to the person that I was basing it off of. And they said, that looks fucking shit. I was like, oh. So then I took off the tag to say that it was based off of them because they thought it looked that ugly, which is really funny. Obviously, the sculptor is okay, but I'm still learning. Oh, So I forgot I put this in. So one of our first briefs, we had to do a character from a film or game. So I was like, I'm going to do Arnold from, I think it was from Predator. So I was like, okay. So I started working on it. The clothes look shit. The face looks shit. But, you know, I was really proud of it at the time. But it does look pretty ass, you know. I think the mouth was completely shut. It was just sculpted on. Like, there's not actually any concave mouth stuff. But, you know, I mean, for anatomy of, like, your first time, I was proud of it. But the problem was, I wasn't feeling like I was doing good enough. You know, again, going back to the point that when I was in uni, you know, there was these people around me that were doing so well, and you see these people above you in third year or alumni or people in the industry already, and they're just killing it. And it just was really scary, you know, because you don't know how to get to that point. You just know you need to get there. So I was overworking myself every day. Like, literally, I became such a workaholic. It was very unhealthy. And it wasn't really good because I was just making stuff. I was just throwing shit at a wall. And, you know, it helps. I think there's nothing wrong with just throwing shit at a wall. I think especially when you're starting, let's say you're, like, really new, just make, like, a million fucking shitty things, and then one day you'll make something less shitty and it'll get better. But that's just art in general. And all I could see was the end of the road, not the middle or the next step. That's so deep. So, yeah, no, I think with that, you know, all I was shown, especially when I was starting off, is, like, here's the best character artists in the industry, right? And you see this amazing, beautiful work out there, and you go, oh, fuck. My work looks like this at the moment, and it's just that's not going in a game anytime soon. I would say this to go back to this. The biggest problem is having that uni or college-esque style to your work. I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know if you agree. I talked with my inner groups. They agree. There is like a kind of like student style kind of work. I don't know, like maybe just the normals are a bit weird, or the textures are a bit too over the top, or too rough, or too wet, the textures. There's something about it, and it's really hard to, you know, to explain how to stop doing that. But you'll get there. You'll get there. This is not really a tutorial on how to be a better modeler. It's just more saying you'll get there. So here we go. We'll go through that. Yeah. So again, yeah, like you go on ArtStation and it's just this like beautiful fucking work, and you know, you can dissect it. But from just a first case looking at this, this freak you out. This is like the most recent screen grabs of ArtStation at the moment, and it's like so beautiful, so good. And I was nowhere there. And you're probably nowhere near that. And that's fine. So, you know, I kind of want to show this as just an example that I wish I could, like, if I could go back in time and just kind of see my progression, this would be awesome. You know, you see on the left, that's like one of my first face sculpts. Next one was like maybe a year later. And then that next one was like maybe a few months later after I learned a few anatomy bits online, which is just nice to see. I think it's always nice. I'd say this as well, if you're feeling just really downtrodden about your work, just look back at yourself a year ago. Here, again, you can see I really like frogs and reptiles. You can see one of my first models, and then like I think about a year later, and then a few months later, that was like one of the main characters I did for my main game I did in uni, which is really nice to see the progression. But yeah, then I realized a major issue is I was making a bunch of shit that no one cared about. And that might sound just like a weird blanket statement, but I will explain. The issue is I was making, you know, these cool. Oh, I think I won't go there yet. Oh, spoilers for the next thing. I was making these cool like OCs and cool characters, and I was throwing shit at a wall. But I wasn't really thinking about like how to get a job from doing it. And I think a lot of character artists I see, and when I look at their work, there's just kind of an issue of just knowing like who's this for? Who's this for? If I was an employer, like really put yourself in the shoes. If you're an employer and you saw like this cool kind of weird looking character that's barely textured just thrown up, like it's not really gonna go anywhere. I know that's a very kind of general statement, and I will explain it more because I feel like that on its own is kind of annoying to say. So yeah, what I started to do at this stage, I think it was at the end of my second year, I went, well, you know, what studios do I actually want to work at? And at the time, the main ones were Valve for Half-Life 2 and Half-Life Alyx at the time. Like, I was obsessed with them. I still love Valve a lot. And then there was Naughty Dog, you know, with Last of Us. I was obsessed with Last of Us and Last of Us 2. And just generally their level of quality for characters. Still. And then Face Punch, because I just fucking love Face Punch. You know, when I was younger, like, I played so much Garry's Mod and Rust. So it was really nice to, you know, have that. I think compared to the other ones, Face Punch was a studio where I was like, I just love this studio. Like, I would love to work for them. On top of the fact that their art is immense. Really good. And then Blizzard. I think everyone has that aspiration to want to work at Blizzard because of just how much awesome IPs they have. So yeah. I then was reminded of a fun story of my first internship. So, you know, I was thinking about, you know, I love these studios I want to work at. I really want to work at these studios. But how do I get there? And then I thought of a memory of how, and I didn't really explain in words on these panels, but I'll explain. So, you know, every year at my uni, they did these kind of like meetups where you can meet people from the industry and they'd have like little panels. It was like Comic-Con, but for getting a job. And it was in first year. This is when I was looking for internships before like looking for an actual job. And we were just thrown along with it. And they pretty much said like, our teachers like, don't worry, you're probably not going to get anything from this, but just go. It's like, it's nice to see what you should be looking for in a year. And I was like, okay. I went along and, you know, there's all these different little stalls. And there was this one stall, I won't say the name of the studio, but they were working on some stylized kind of like non-PBR, just painterly character stuff and prop stuff. And I remember at the time, before the stall, I remember looking through the different studios that are going to be there. There was these massive name studios there that I knew I just was not at the same quality level to even possibly apply, even for an internship or even a conversation with them. Because I just didn't even have like the possible way to talk to them. Like, they'd start spewing out stuff. Like, I barely knew normal maps at this point, right? So the studio, they had this painterly style. So I kind of told myself, why don't I just like work on just this like really simple stylized piece and just throw it at them, and I'll bring over and I'll spend like a day or two on it. Like, I even told myself like, I got all these amazing work I've done that I've spent months on. I'll just do a day's work. That'd be cute. That'd be fun. So I did it. And when I arrived actually at this convention meeting stall thing, you had all the different stalls and they were in the middle. And there was this massive line, like this just fucking insanely massive line. And this will be kind of like a lesson, less about getting like the artistic side, but also just the social side. Because I love this story. And it's the advice I'd give to a lot of people. Be a fucking idiot sometimes. And I did the dumbest thing ever. So there was a massive line. And what they had is they had the stall here and a piece of paper. And what you'd write down is your email address, your art station, and your phone number. I think that's the fucking stupidest thing ever. And I think that person that put together the stall is a fucking idiot. Why would you... Whoever thought that up is a dumbass. Because, you know, you had this shitty... It was like a small little pencil, and like you see people like leaning over on the fucking table trying to write their shitty fucking ArtStation link. Like you're just going to know that off the top of your head. And also, like, there was so many people. Like, what do you really think they're going to go through and like type out every single fucking ArtStation /8? No one's going to do that. So I was an impatient fuck. So I walked up. I like this visual I made on my next panel. So I walked, that's me on the left. I walked over with my phone, and you know, all these people weren't even showing their work to these people at this stall. They were just running this. They weren't talking to them, and I realized the person in front was like I think the art lead on the project. I didn't know who it was, and I just went, "Hey, I kind of bothered to go in the line. Can I just like show you my work?" And he looked at me kind of like, what the fuck? And I looked over, and you just see all the people in the fucking queue looking at me like, "Fuck you, get the fucking line." But I was an asshole, so I I just consistently kept talking to him, and he was like, what do you want to show? And I went, can I just show you this thing I've been working on? I've been working on something. It's pretty much just the same style that you're doing. So I showed up my phone of this shotgun stylized piece that I did. I'll be really transparent. It is literally just a carbon copy fan art of some work by someone called Zug Zug on Instagram. I'll put a link in the description of this YouTube video. He's really good. I love him. Them. Their work is amazing. So it's awesome to have gotten my first job because of pretty much just copying their work. I didn't make it very apparent that it was a copy anyway. So they looked at it and they went, "Wow, cool." And I realized that the people in the line were getting very fucking upset. And the art director, art lead guy said, "Okay, here's my phone number. Here's my email. I'll talk to you tomorrow." And I went, "Oh, yes, Pog!" I don't know if Pog was like a thing back when I was in uni. I think it was. But yeah, then I could see the line, like people looked really fucking pissed. And then people started doing it as well. But I already got in his head. So yeah, I don't know. The moral of the story with that is I think just show your work. Don't be a dick about it. Have some decorum, have some social awareness, but just, go over there and show your work. Don't be just another number in the machine, because we all are, but at least do it with a smile and seem a bit interesting, because that might help. So, I got the job. Yay! It was a pretty fun job. I won't say too much about it, but it was just like some pretty manual grunt work stuff, but like it was an internship. That's fucking awesome. So, having that in mind now, it made me think, not to spoil the next page, it made me think, okay, so how did I get that internship? I did an actual piece of artwork that would fit into the world of what this art lead was working on. And he saw that and he went, okay, this intern, he's competent enough that I could just go, could you make this? And I'll go, yes, sir. Which is great. And I'm not gonna lie, if I was an art lead and I was looking for just a junior, I just wanted it done like that without having to worry about getting someone to onboard them with the art style, I'd probably pick that person that just shows they can do it straight away, which is great. So now thinking of that, I thought about the studios I wanted to work at, like Blizzard or Valve or Face Punch or, Naughty Dog. And it made me think like, okay, so I need to make artwork that orients towards that. So I think at this point I was really focused on, Diablo and World of Warcraft. Because even though I didn't play them too much, I just loved the idea of working on them. So I started doing like stylized work, like you can see here. So I was doing like these orcs and goblin kind of characters. I was doing more low poly stuff. I was also showing off my actual low polys. Look, this is another little small thing. Please show your fucking low polys. The amount of work that I've shifted through where they show these awesome designs and then like right at the bottom, there's just nothing about like how it's technically made. It could be like 7 trillion polys with like 8,000 4K textures. I don't know. Please tell me that you're not an idiot when you're making a model. I think that goes a long way, especially with a junior. So again, then now I was like, okay, I want to do fantasy. I'm going to do fantasy. So I really focused down on fantasy work. And also with World of Warcraft, I started doing, these more painterly kind of works. Unfortunately, this is not going to end with me saying, oh yeah, I got a job at Blizzard. I didn't, because I didn't really apply. But I know that was one of the avenues I wanted to go down. So again, then I started working on some medieval kind of armor. I wanted to go more realism. Obviously, I know that that's not what Valve or Naughty Dog do. But there's other studios like, for example, Bioshock. Oh my god, I'm going mental. Ubisoft and EA, those kind of studios that might delve into that kind of realm, more creative assembly. I remember I had a few people I talked to at Creative Assembly, and I was showing off this kind of work to them, which they seem to resonate with more. So that goes a long way. Another thing as well, I actually showed I could follow an existing art style and art direction. So again, going back to my other point, if you could actually like make something from a world that exists at the moment, that's great. Because realistically, how many like sequels and remakes and further on projects in a universe are being made right now. You know, there are like unique projects coming out, but realistically, like 50% of the projects that are being made are already existing universes. So if you can actually like fit into that universe and artistically, that's a really attractive thing as an artist. Also, when you're starting off as a junior, the employer mainly thinks about it. Yeah, if I was an employer, I've done a few job interviews and like general kind of like vetting of junior roles. And I think the biggest thing that made me like open my eyes a bit and go, ooh, is if they generally showed that, you know, if you can make a fucking really good Star Wars character, that's awesome, because you actually know you can follow a brief. You know, it's cool that you can make your really epic OC character, and everyone loves that, and I love doing that. But realistically, like, some art director's going to look at that and go, okay, cool, that's your vision, but that's not mine. And in a really kind of sharp way of saying it, you're going to be working for your boss. That's just how it be, bro. Jesus Christ. All right, controversial statement. I must have had a problem there. Fucking think about what you're actually going to be working on as a studio as a junior. I think that's kind of what I was saying in my last statement. You know, you're going to be working on already existing projects, most likely. And this is a bit of a rant. This is a bit of a rant, I will say. I think that, like, realistically, when you're a junior and you're starting off, they're not going to put you on a main character. Probably for a while. Like, you're going to be, especially when you're junior, they're not going to go, oh yeah, let's give that guy the main head of the main character. Maybe. But there's a lot of chance no. And probably what you're going to be working on is reskins or extra clothing for a character. Hair. Do hair. Get good at hair. Because that's great. But like, they're just going to be getting you to do everything else but the main character. The NPCs, the stuff revolving around the main characters. Not the main character. You're not going to be Frank Zen making the main character for Last of Us. You're going to be making the hair or the different coat that they wear later on in the game. That's the kind of stuff you're going to be doing. So yeah, keep that in mind to some extent. You know, in my career, I've noticed, like, I'm looking at my, like, I'm doing this. Am I okay? I look like I'm like a hunchback. Am I okay? I think I'm okay. Let me just like unhunch myself. You know, I used to have arguments with a lot of character artists at my uni where I'd say like, oh, I would love to just do NPCs for games. Because I think realistically, that would be so fun to just make a whole world and understand like how to make very cohesive, very efficient clothing and hair and stuff like that. A lot of the other character artists would say to me, that's so boring. Fuck you. And I say, fuck you. But it'd be this back and forth of, you know, I want to make the main character. But realistically, you're probably not going to do that. And it's cool to put that in your portfolio, and you should show main character-esque characters. But also, you should understand that when you start, you should get a ball rolling of understanding you will be making stuff for existing characters, for existing worlds, for existing art styles. So if you can keep that mentality, you're going to be very attractive as a character artist starting off. And that's okay. That's okay. And then I got a job. Back to the story of my life. I got the job that I wanted. It was an outsourcing studio, which perfectly fits kind of what I wanted to do. So lots of, you know, skins for characters, hair, just learn hair. It's so good. And like clothing for characters and skins and just general that kind of stuff. And I learned a lot about sculpting and texturing and just understanding how to work to a brief and also an employer, which is really nice. But also, I know there's more to that though, and I know this might seem like a bit of an eye roll of just me saying, so I worked at becoming an artist and I got a job. I know it's not as easy as just, oh, take this video, this presentation, and oh, now I know how to get a job. I know there's so much more to it. It's all relative, and you've got to work at it in your own way. And I think a lot of the ways that I work and my workflows comes from my own inner, you know, stuff that I've learned. And that's really hard to translate in tutorials without sitting with you literally. But yeah, so I hope that's been at least interesting to some extent to see You know, that's how I got the job, from doing those main actions. One thing I would say is I sometimes wish that someone just like sat me down. Literally, I wish I could go back in time and talk to myself from like 3-4 years ago and just say, pick the studio you want to work at, or pick a few studios you want to work at, and then just make like some characters that you could see fitting into that world of that studio. So just like, literally I would say make like 5 or 10 really good character art posts. And you know, especially when you're starting, I understand that you might not want to make these final pieces, but like work towards that for when you want to post together your final cool looking portfolio. Like just make it literally, if you make just 5 or 10 really fucking sick characters that fit, like let's say I really want to work at Naughty Dog. I just want to work on Last of Us 3. That's all I want to do. Then just make 5 or 10 fucking sick characters that you could see fit in that world. Just really pump out specifically that, right? And you might be saying, but what if I don't get an Naughty Dog? What am I going to do then? Because then I've just made work that... There's so many fucking projects that have fucking NPCs that look like that, you know? And if you're if you're reaching Last of Us level, then you're chill. You're fine. Or let's say, for example, you want to work at Valve, right? You want to work on the next Half-Life. Or you want to work on the next Portal. Or any of the other cool projects that Valve do. Like Dota. You know, you might just want to like just focus on making sci-fi kind of like dystopian characters, and you might go, okay, but what if Valve doesn't want... There's so many projects that are kind of like that, or orient towards that dystopian sci-fi. How many dystopian sci-fis are fucking out there, you know? But it's good to have a waypoint that you can go to, the star that you're going towards, because there's so many other fucking stars around it that if you miss, you're going to hit another one. So just find your path. Also, just show your fucking retopology and UVs, man. Just show your fucking wireframes. Don't be a coward. Just show it. Also, do hair. Like, don't be an idiot. Learn how to do hair. And you know, I might do a tutorial at some point on here on just how to do it. But there's a lot of different conflicting ways of doing it. And I'm sure there's people out there, because at my last studio, a lot of them were hair artists. They'll probably see my tutorial and laugh at me, because they're all amazing hair artists. So I'm kind of nervous about doing a tutorial, because they probably made better ones than me. If I find a really good tutorial by those people, I will send you links to it. I'll put it in the link below. Next thing is work smarter. And wait. I want to go back really quickly. With hair, the reason you should be doing hair is because there's so many projects and so many student level work I've seen that put a fucking hat on it or a mask because they're so scared to do hair, because it's really hard to do hair, right? But if you can fucking nail hair and understand it, you are chill, bro. There are so many outsourcing studios or so many projects that need hair artists, or at least character artists that understand hair, okay? So learn it. Don't be a coward, or at least get good at it to some extent. Yeah, work smarter and harder, but not too hard. I said a really wise phrase recently where I said, push yourself, but don't pressure yourself. I think that's what it was. But it's the idea of like, you know, push yourself, but don't go toxic level with it. Just like push yourself the amount that you think you can do. Which, I don't know, when I was in uni, I pushed myself too much. I really regret it, but also I don't, because I'm here where I am now because of that, for pushing myself. But also like it you know, maybe it would have been better to not completely lose my mind in my last year of university, because realistically it really wasn't worth it. So yeah, and last thing, have fun. You know, that's the most important thing about doing art. You know, you could be working literally anywhere else, but you want to be a character artist, so might as well have fun with it. And you know, the caveat to the kind of like massive bracket over all this is that, you know, you should be trying to make work that other people will perceive and enjoy, right? You should be making work that, you know, an employer will like, or an art director will like. But at the end of the day, the only way that's going to make you continuously want to work more on it is if it's something you enjoy. I know it sounds so fucking cringe, but like with me, my way of like my kind of pathway to wanting to do, you know, more work and work harder is by picking projects that I enjoyed. So for example, I love frogs. Like I really love frogs. So I just started like making a fuck ton of frogs and I just was like, oh, I want to get better at clothing, so I just make frogs with fucking loose clothing on. And if that helps you, then do it, you know. Also, I've noticed something. Oh, I'm so annoyed. I've got the I've got the camera here, and it's perfectly like right in the way of so much stuff. I'm so sorry. Well, you know, I'm sure you're not missing too much. But what can we do? Yeah, like that, and just stare at thee. Let me like move my guy real quick. Start staring at the right art. I'll go back to this, because I think this is the next bit. Yeah, that's my main points. So yeah, again, learn anatomy, learn hair, learn clothing, learn texturing. Don't be a dumbass, and you'll be fine. You'll be good. And just stare at the right art. This says right art here. My point with that is that, going back to looking at ArtStation, let's say you really want to work at Naughty Dog. You know, they're the bee's knees when it comes to clothing and hair and characters and just in general making really good characters. Just stare at them. Do you know, most of the time when people ask me like, what main tutorial did I watch? Or what main, like, you know, series did I watch to get where I was with art? No, I just kind of stared at this. I would just stare at these motherfucking ArtStation posts for hours. They're so good. Like, literally, just spend the next, like, day just fucking analyzing them and doing paint overs, looking at it, just trying to understand how they do certain things. Because, you know, if you have that critical eye, that's another thing, a soft skill. If you can get that critical eye for understanding why their thing looks good and yours doesn't, that's sick. Because that's the first step, knowing. Oh god. So in conclusion, is that my conclusion? Okay, I must have missed a tab there. Oh yeah. So in conclusion, you know, we're all learning, bro, and I really hope this gets out to like some character artist that's just starting off, or doesn't feel like they're being successful enough, or they feel like they're failing, or they're just on the cusp of about to get a job at any stage before you've actually landed it. And I hope this is maybe giving you a perspective shift, because I feel like there's certain things when I was starting that, you know, I just wanted to make shit. I just wanted to push out as many cool characters as possible, but I wasn't thinking about like, how could that be advertised as an actual candidate for a job? And as the main thing, I'd say is just make stuff that you enjoy, but make stuff that you know that art director out there, or that lead, or that employer, they're gonna like. and they genuinely, you know, they can see that you're gonna come onto the team and you're not gonna be a fuss. You know, a lot of the time, like, let's say if I was put on like a lead project right now and someone came to me and was like, okay, we're gonna give you 3 juniors, the first thing I do is like do like a massive sigh and be like, fuck's sake, man. The amount of onboarding. Do you know like half of a like game dev isn't even art? It's just onboarding, fucking sorting out softwares, sorting out fucking the right files, setups. Like literally, it's the most like stressful shit ever. And do you know what make it just that little bit easier for the lead to make them want to pick you? Is if you just fucking just get in there, and you might be even still learning, but you can just go, okay, I'm gonna get to it. I know the style, I know the thing, I know kind of what you want from your studio. Let's go. You know, they're gonna love that. You know, and again, going back to that other point, if they've got work where they've got like a Star Wars character in there, or you know, they've got some fucking straight up Last of Us character stuff they're doing exactly, it makes me go, okay, they know how to follow a brief, they know how to follow a concept, because a lot of the time that's what you're given. You're given a concept, you're given some work beforehand to show what you need to be making. I can leave them to it. I don't have to worry about holding their hand the whole time, which is super good. So, you know, there's a lot more to it, but I hope that makes sense. This is just showing off some, this is just where I like kind of like just kiss my own ass here now and just show off some work that I've done in the last year, you know, comparatively to my old stuff. You know, I've been working on cloth, I've been working on texturing, and I'm hitting a point now where, like, again, I'm really happy the studio I'm at. That's the fun little plot twist as well. One of those 4 studios that I suggested to want to get a job at, I got at Face Punch. How cool is that? You know, I love working at Face Punch. That sounded like so not like sounded really half-hearted. I love working at my studio. It's fucking awesome, and you know, it literally plays into exactly what I did. You know, with what I explained before, I literally just made stuff that I thought they'd like, and then I got a job. So woohoo! You know, I've been working on this kind of stuff, and I'm looking towards like the highest pinnacle of, you know, character work. So like, you know, Uncharted stuff or Last of Us stuff, and just trying to reach that peak with quality. You know, I've been just really focusing on cloth. I think that's such a big thing, and that's a whole rant. I think I'll do a video about it at some point about how I kind of have an issue with a lot of character artwork, which is such a focus on human like faces or anatomy. Because recently, it's really good to have anatomy, but I think realistically, like, you're really not going to be doing the main face, buddy, for a while. And if you are, I mean, good for you. But like, realistically, like a lot of us character artists, we're going to be put on stuff around it. You know, I've explained this before in the video. So yeah, just get good at cloth, man. If you can get really good at making clothing, that's great. If you, okay, this sounds so stupid, but if you're watching this and you're like, I'm so ready, I'm so inspired by what Daniel said, stop this video after this and just make the most competent, most like just really push yourself in trying to make a really good shirt. I know that sounds so boring because it isn't some fucking fantasy elf with 7 ears and a scar across their nose. Just make a really good shirt. Just make a really sick shirt. Get a base model off of online. Just shove it in. Might not be yours, but just do the shirt for it. You know? Use software like Marvelous Designer or just ZBrush or whatever, or Blender. Just make it as good as possible. And even just like look at references of like games like Last of Us and how they do shirts. I feel like this is going on too long. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, just do that. That's your little homework. And if you do it, send me it and I'll be really proud of you. Here's some more ZBrush work. You know, I focus a lot on ZBrush. You know, in the last few years, I've really been specializing in, you know, ZBrush and just focusing on that as my main skill. And that's something I think you will hit where you'll start to realize, like, okay, what do I want to be really good at? Or what do I want to try and be really, really good at? And just venturing down that pathway is really nice. So find that thing that you really want to get. For me, I just want to do cloth and clothing and hair. I love that stuff. I love faces. I think I'd love to do more faces in the future, but like, I just like doing cloth and hair. And there's so many jobs out there that would need cloth and hair. That's like 90% of the character. So, you know, there's always going to be a job there. More cloth work, and yeah, keep going, bros. I really enjoyed making this video. It's a bit cringe, and it's been weird just having this like kind of commentator microphone just up to my mouth like this for the last 43 minutes. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot to edit. But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope it's been interesting. And if you have any questions, just ask. You know, I'm still very new to this industry, and this goes back to what I was saying at the start. I think in like 5 or 10 years, I will look at this very naively. I'll see how naive I am now. But we're still in the same boat, bro. You know, we're all learning. We're all still getting there with our careers or potential careers. So yeah, just ask away, bro. If you've got some dumb question, you know, this is a funny one. Just to end it on, when I was starting off, just learning. About oh no, I have 2 stories. Okay, I'll be quick. I'm sorry. You can go now if you don't care about this stuff. So when I was in uni, there's a thing called a bake by normals or bake by name. Bake by mesh name. Jesus Christ. So bake by mesh name is a very simple concept that rather than having to explode your model every time to do a bake when you have multiple different separate meshes when baking your AO and normal and all that. You can do it all together if you just give it the right naming conventions of low and high. Some people might not even know what that is yet. Now you might, you know, not even know what the fuck normal, like, know how to do that shit. But look it up, because I didn't know for ages. And one day, I was sitting with someone and I was literally nearly in tears, being like, "How the fuck do you get this?" Like, what was it? I had like a watch on an arm, and I was going, "How the fuck do you get the arm and the watch fucking normals not to be fucked without having to do some shitty fucking explode? That's so stressful. Why would I need to explode a model every fucking time when I want to do a fucking bake?" And this guy showed me Baked by Mesh name. And I went, fuck, I'm a dumbass. And it was the best day of my life. I think it was probably one of the best days of my artistic career. Next thing is when I was working at my first studio, not internship, but first job. One of the art directors came over to me and they said, what are you sculpting, bro? I was like, oh, I'm working on this. Look at this character. I'm really having a good time. I'm really embarrassed by this story. Fuck's sake. So he comes over and he's looking at my work and he's going, oh, it looks good. Where's your Wacom? I'm in ZBrush, sculpting away, and he goes, where's your Wacom? And I go, oh no, I don't sculpt with a Wacom or a tablet. He went, you don't sculpt with a tablet? And I go, yeah, no, I sculpt with my mouse. And the art director looked at me like I was a fucking dumbass. He said, what's wrong with you? And I went, I don't know, I just never really understood how to use a tablet. I just sculpt with a mouse. It's fine, right? And I think he said something to the kind of like, you're bringing down all us artists by doing that. That's so stupid. He didn't say it's rude like that. I'm adding some theatrics to it, but he was very shocked by that. And he got me a Wacom tablet immediately for my computer. And he was like, you need to stop being a dumbass and know how to use a drawing tablet when you're sculpting. And I was like, okay. So yeah, sometimes you will get some really dumb habits, and that's fine. Someone will tell you're an idiot at some point. Yeah, I think that's the end of the presentation. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know how much I'm going to edit this or just leave it as this. But yeah, you know, going back to another point about self-awareness, I think talking about advice like this, especially when I'm still quite new to the industry, it does feel very scary because, you know, again, even from a year ago, looking at stuff I said about advice, I go, oh, like even tutorials, like I have tutorials from like a year ago about texturing, and I'm like, it's so stupid, I'm such an idiot, you could just do this. So, you know, hello Daniel in like 5 years when you fucking hate this video, but I'm sure someone will enjoy this. And if you have any questions or if you have anything you want to bring to the conversation, just put it in the comments and we can talk about it. Either way, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Yeah, I hope this has been enjoyable. I've been Danduw 3D, and that's the end of the presentation. Thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your class. Bye.